never, ever, and I mean never, ever apologize to the mob. However, I'm not doing a video explaining why it is you should not apologize, even though I probably will during the course of this video. But I'm going to be doing this video more along the lines of why in the world it is that Pat McAfee chose to apologize to the mob, and why it is that people, when they see the Pat McAfee show, should understand that for the most part, it's a buddy bro sports show. And even though some of the things that I have said in the past about this show moving to ESPN are starting to come true, I think I know the real reason why it is that he is basically apologizing.
But that is Aaron and Jimmy. They've been
jousting a bit.
I don't know, So, like, we obviously don't like the fact that we're associated with anything negative ever. We like our show to be an uplifting one, a happy one, a fun one, but it's because we talk shit and try to make light of everything. Some things, obviously, people get very pissed off about, especially when they're that serious allegations. So we apologize for being a part of it. Can't wait to hear what Aaron has to say about it. Hopefully those two will just be able to settle this, not court-wise, but be able to chit-chat, move along. Because remember, you're allowed to disagree with people's opinions. You're allowed to say, like, I don't... You sound dumb. The more and more you talk, you sound dumb.
Now, guys, that right there is not the whole clip. I'll show you guys the whole clip here in a second. But if you guys remember correctly, Aaron Rodgers was on the McAfee show recently. Now, Aaron Rodgers is on every Tuesday. And, of course, a lot of people are now beating him up, saying he's a conspiracy theorist, all that type of stuff there. And, of course, the whole... Well, let's just say that guy with the gray hair that didn't kill himself, of course, we can't really speak that much of him, or else the videos themselves will, of course, get demonetized. But I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow. And, of course, it's probably going to be the only video of the day, which will be on Friday. And I'll probably have one of my many videos on how the media manipulates out on Saturday. It'll be a smaller video, but don't worry, it will be out. Of course, this is a part of my video essay series, but until I get full closure, it's probably going to be in and out, kind of like what it is now, with just a little bit of B-roll footage. But still, let's get back on topic. So Aaron Rodgers, of course, has been on the McAfee show roughly every Tuesday since about 2019. Highlighted guest, of course, and a lot of people, Packer fans, still, of course, follow the man. Of course, I still do as well. We're probably never going to fully turn on him, even though there are some people who obviously have. Don't kid me. We love Jordan Love too. Okay, we're just now getting used to him. So if you're a Packers fan, you come across this video, please don't beat me up in the comment section for not being overtly Jordan here. I'm just bringing up the recent situation, which I'm going to play for you guys again in a second. So Aaron Rodgers, of course, he comes out and he basically says that Jimmy Kimmel is expected to be on the list. Which, by the way, he didn't actually bring this up. AJ Hawk did. Let's rerun this.
That Super Bowl 59 emblem better have jet green on it, because I know you've seen that one, Connor. That's a real interesting.
Yeah. Well, let's not get into that today.
What are we talking about?
What happened?
What's the Jet 59? What you just tied the Ravens and the Niners
Don't worry.
into Super Bowl 59 into something.
Well, not like the
just look at
logos,
the
the
colors.
team colors that have been in.
Look at the colors.
Super Bowl.
The Ravens and the Niners. It's purple. It's red.
Bring it up, Foxy or somebody back there.
Seats on it.
Bring up Super Bowl 58.
You'll see it.
The emblem, put it on the screen. And then bring up 57 and 56.
This has something to do with the Epstein list that came out.
Feels like.
That's supposed to be coming out soon.
Look, this guy's been
There's
waiting
a
in
lot
his
of
wine
people-
cellar.
Yeah.
I've been waiting in my wine cellar for this thing.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
All right.
And, of course, that's only about maybe 30 or 45 seconds of that video. I'll play the other half for you guys, because when I did my video the other day, I also said it was very possible that Aaron also may have exposed the entire business, especially with the Super Bowl logos and how it is that the recent teams, their team colors, kind of match those logos. But still, though, at the same time, we got to get back to that list, and we got to get back to that guy. And like I said, we'll talk more about that tomorrow, because a lot of information is coming out, and I want to give it one more day before I actually decide to do a piece of work on this. So why in the world is Pat McAfee apologizing? Well, it's probably two reasons. Now, before we go to the apology, or before we go to why I think he decided to apologize to the mob, let's rerun the in full 2 minutes and 40 some odd seconds, and then we're going to run the other half of that Rodgers clip, because, yeah, it seems to me like it's a twofold apology, and he probably was sent out there to actually apologize. Let's go ahead and roll this.
Conversations.
Letting it fly.
They can certainly lead to some places that cause like international news and things like that. And whenever there's accusations made about people, that can lead to lawsuits. Now, listen, have been in one before.
Yes.
With Brett Favre. Now, how'd that case end? Well, it ended with me having to read a letter basically stating that I know nothing that anybody else doesn't know publicly already. That I'm not in the know for that whole thing. And then that was kind of disappeared, but that was a big thing for a long time.
Yeah.
How did that come? Well, we just started making jokes about stuff. We started talking shit about stuff. And then in our show, I think that is a good part of what we do is we're able to kind of just roll with the punches. We're able to have a good time. We're all rather invested and studied in what's happening around the sports world at all times. Caitlin Clark last night.
Hell yeah.
Unreal.
Wait till you hear about Luke Littler today.
Dog.
So we are very much in that world. So everybody that comes on the stage has to be able to like basically keep up with where we're headed. There's no there's no formal outline of what we're going to talk about, how we're going to talk about it. There's no A block, B block, C block. There's no scheduled conversations. There's no scheduled debates. There's no topics for you to think about before you get in there. There is just an opportunity to talk about damn near everything for 3.5 hours. And in doing so, the upside of that is some magic can come that you never knew was going to come.
Absolutely.
Good times can be had, laughs can be had, especially when you're rolling on like 2 hours of sleep like we were yesterday after the Rose Bowl. You can have a blast. And on the flip side, there could be some things that were certainly probably, I mean, we're going to have to hear from Aaron on that, meant to be shit talk joke that can then become something that is obviously a very serious allegation that then leads to a massive overnight story, one in which, put baby down, sleep, haven't seen her in a while, and then I pick up my phone. Oh, boy. But I can see exactly why Jimmy Kimmel felt the way he felt, especially with his position. But I think Aaron was just trying to talk shit. Now, did it go too far? And a lot of people, Jimmy Kimmel certainly said that was the case. We've been
Jousting a bit.
I don't know, you know? So, like, we obviously don't like the fact that we're associated with anything negative ever. We like our show to be an uplifting one, a happy one, a fun one, but it's because we talk shit and try to make light of everything. Some things, obviously, people get very pissed off about, especially when they're that serious allegations. So we apologize for being a part of it. Can't wait to hear what Aaron has to say about it. Hopefully those two will just be able to settle this, you know? Not court-wise, but be able to chit-chat, move along. Because remember, you're allowed to disagree with people's opinions. You're allowed to say, like, I don't... You sound dumb. The more and more you talk, you sound dumber and dumber. And then you're like,
Now, really quick, I want to throw one more side piece in before we go any further. It's going to take a minute, but let me please explain this really quick. Aaron being basically, I wouldn't say he was thrown under the bus. So that's not what I think is going on here. If anything, what probably happened because Aaron and Pat have gotten so close over the years is that Aaron probably was informed that Pat would probably be forced to go out and apologize, or forced to make some type of statement. So Aaron was probably forewarned. Now, knowing the history of this man like I do, especially given the fact that I, of course, followed the Green Bay media and followed the Milwaukee media when it came to the topic of Aaron Rodgers because I'm a Packers fan. I'm pretty sure that anybody and everybody out there who is a fan of Jordan Love is going to have to deal with this at some point in time, too. It really didn't get bad for Aaron until sometime right around 2013, 2014. He started making appearances on the Wildy and Tausch podcast, and of course he let out some interesting things there. But of course, after a while, when you go to somebody who I guess you could say air grievances or possibly BS, which I think that's really what Aaron is mostly doing, after a while, people will eventually start to throw you under the bus. It's one of the main reasons why it is. You probably won't see me do as much collaborative efforts here on this channel. Not because of the fact that I don't want to, it's because, quite frankly, even as a YouTuber, and I know somebody's going to say you did it to yourself, I'm somewhat of a guy who is a little bit paranoid and a little bit mistrusting. It kind of comes with the territory, especially given your experience, which is also another reason why it is going to video essays, so that way I got that extra time to do research and get much, much longer, more detailed videos out. One of those videos will be out this weekend. Of course, it'll be more of a rough one, and you can even classify today's earlier video as a bit like that as well, but of course, that's just kind of a primer video to other videos to kind of give you a direction of where we're going. The thing is this right here. Aaron has probably got to watch himself, especially when dealing with the McAfee show while they are under contract with ESPN. And let me go ahead and say this about Pat McAfee. If Pat McAfee really and truly was smart, and I understand the real reason why it is. I mean, I commented on it before, did videos saying I was against the move. The real reason why he chose to sign a contract with ESPN was obviously to get guys like Ty Schmidt and Boston Connor, the younger guys, an opportunity to make some money on the platform. That's probably the real reason why he went to ESPN, because he thought the contract was much, much more lucrative. But as I have said in previous videos, Not that many, but I've said in previous videos about McAfee. At some point in time, they're going to want him to bow and cater. My belief at the time was that McAfee would be caught bowing to the mob at some point in time, being forced to apologize or step in line, or he would find himself out of a job or out of a contract at ESPN. This right here to me is ESPN, ABC, Disney asserting control, saying we've got to protect Mr. Kimmel here. But Jimmy Kimmel, and I've said this in a previous video too, reminds me a lot of, and this is a very, very controversial opinion, but he reminds me a lot of Eminem. Guys, there was a video that was made by a channel called This Information. I don't think they're any on YouTube any longer, but the video obviously still exists. This guy literally broke down for about 20 minutes how Eminem went from being an anti-establishment rapper who was very, very based in certain beliefs to all of a sudden becoming a shill and a cuck for the actual establishment, especially the mainstream media, which, of course, the mainstream media, I think, is what the world really and truly controls things. While I am not the biggest fan of Bill O'Reilly, he did say a long time ago that he felt that, and I quote, that the Democratic Party does not control the mainstream media. It's actually the media that controls the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is a wing of the media. We'll be discussing that. And, of course, this also includes neoconservatives and quote-unquote rhinos. They don't have the power. They think they do. They're really more or less just a useful cog. And we'll be talking more about that later on this year. But this right here is another example of the sports media also being corrupted as well. I mean, dude, the people who shared this clip that I got it from was a company called God Awful Announcing. And the minute that Aaron Rodgers said what he said, you had God Awful Announcing and you had Deadspin, you know, the same people who attacked a small child over his face paint at a Kansas City Chiefs game. We covered this before as well. These same people came out attacking Aaron Rodgers like crazy. It's like, who are you trying to protect here? Why are you trying to protect Jimmy Kimmel? Does Jimmy Kimmel have something on him? Well, that stuff has been coming out. And, of course, I already expect to get the yellow dollar sign here. But still at the same time, as you guys are probably finding out very now, it's pretty obvious the liberal media is going to be going after him and McAfee both. However, the thing about McAfee, and this is what you got to pay very close attention to. At some point in time, McAfee's such a meathead, he's probably eventually going to refuse. So I'm pretty sure that that is coming here in the near future. I think that what happened here was that ABC News, who, by the way, it was Amy Warback who originally brought up the whole guy who didn't kill himself list, of course. And, of course, to go on top of this, a lot of people have theorized who was on that list. Now, I do want to say this, and this is going to come up in tomorrow's video, that this list right here is not actually the client list per se of the island. It's actually the list of the flight logs of people who ever actually, like, flew on business trips or whatnot with the guy. Basically what it is with that guy who didn't kill himself. Basically what happened in that case was that guy was a multi-millionaire, big-time benefactor, investor, all that type of stuff there. He got chummy with just about anybody and everybody in New York and Florida and the country. Some of these names, of course, include former President Bill Clinton. Former President Trump actually had a small business relationship with him, which I will detail more tomorrow because we've already litigated this one. And, of course, the radical left and the never-Trumpers are just seething at the fact that he should be on that list when, in reality, he was actually kind of cleared last night. But still, we'll talk more about that. Also, Alan Dershowitz as well, who I've actually brought up in videos before. But the thing is this right here. This is obviously a very, very touchy issue. Well, it's an issue that, quite frankly, but it does need to be exposed. So when Jimmy Kimmel, for the most part, got, let's just say, called out by, it looks like A.J. Hawk and Aaron Rodgers both, obviously Jimmy Kimmel decided he wanted to say, I'm going to sue Aaron Rodgers. Now, we don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. But I think that ESPN and ABC both are looking at this situation. They're saying, you know what, Jimmy Kimmel is one of our late-night TV hosts. At one point in time, Kimmel had very, very big ratings. Of course, he does not have big ratings anymore because people just realize it's just another anti-Trump late-night TV show. Whereas in Aaron Rodgers, they have no actual, real, honest-to-God connection to. But Pat McAfee, obviously, is an employee under contract with ESPN at this moment in time. And, of course, ABC News, or ABC, Disney owns ESPN. That's probably the real reason why it is that McAfee has suddenly decided to bow to the mob on this instance. That's probably the real reason why it is actually occurring. But about those other 45 seconds, let's talk about that.
Was run on Jimmy Kimmel's show whenever Aaron brought up the list, and then Jimmy mocked him for it. Aaron has not forgotten about that, but here we are sitting right in front of that nice bottle of scotch. What do you say? I'm waiting to celebrate something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Something
He's
awesome.
been waiting
That's
for
the one.
You've been waiting for
Hey, I'll tell you what, if that list comes out, I definitely will be popping some sort of bottle.
Hey, you've been calling for it for a few years now. Anyone else notice this? Oh.
My God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They've known.
That's
They've known for years.
Like I'm saying, that 59 better be jet green. That's all I'm saying.
Interesting.
So basically what it is that the Super Bowl logo every year has certain colors on it. And you guys probably saw before, the logo for the Super Bowl this year is purple with a small shade of red. A lot of NFL conspiracy theorists went ahead and went out of their way to say it's probably a rematch between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. There are some out there who believe that this is actually a psyop, especially given the fact that the red is not the same red that's on the 49ers jerseys or 49ers uniforms. The little gold strip up there could be a reference to the Niners, but it also looks very, very eerily the same as the gold that the New Orleans Saints have in their uniform as well. I don't think the NFL would want to do that, but Aaron Rodgers simply bringing up the Super Bowl logos and bringing up this little theory, especially given that the Super Bowl 59 logo was just released. This right here obviously has some people up in arms. I think that right there is another reason why it is that they sent McAfee out there to go apologize about this. Of course, he probably was going to, but I'm pretty sure it was a secondary reason. You see, the fact of the matter is some people, and of course myself, I kind of picked up on it in the previous video that maybe Aaron Rodgers may have actually exposed the business and told us that Vegas pretty much has a mark on who it is that's going to be in the Super Bowl. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but quarterbacks typically don't win the MVP and the Super Bowl ring in the same year. It happened for Patrick Mahomes last year, but up until then, it had not happened since 1996, 1997, and that was Brett Favre, who won the MVP award and the Super Bowl. I think it was Brett. It may have been Kurt Warner in 1999. I'm not sure, but still, I need to go back and double check that. But typically, the quarterback never wins the MVP award, and of course, Aaron has even brought up his takes on the MVP award as well. Now, you're probably wondering, why in the world does this matter in the long run? Well, here's the reason why. Pat McAfee, as I said before, the McAfee show is, for the most part, a buddy bro sports show, and nothing that is said on that show is probably set to be taken seriously. But still, at the same time, a lot of people obviously do. It just goes to show you exactly how easy it is that certain people can get triggered, and also something else too, given the fact that Kimmel decided he wanted to say, I'm going to sue you right off the bat. That tells me that somebody is obviously pretty nervous. Now, as far as Kimmel is concerned, we'll talk more about him in the Friday video when we actually discuss the information about said list. Of course, a lot of people out there are already, making their own conclusions and whatnot and talk about this, but still, we'll discuss that much, much more on Friday. I did not originally want to do this video, but I chose to kind of come back and do a bit of a follow-up, especially given the fact that I saw that McAfee was apologizing. But still, at the same time, I'm explaining not so much why it is that I'm actually explaining why he apologized on this case. But still, at the same time, though, about bowing to the mob, just know that you shouldn't do it. Because if you bow to the mob, you give this person power. This is an example of McAfee being under contract with ESPN, being under contract with what is really ABC and Disney. And, of course, they're going to make him apologize for having a guest on. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and make one bold prediction. I would be 100% willing to bet that sometime this year or maybe next year, they're going to say that Aaron Rodgers is no longer allowed on ESPN. That right there is my final thoughts on the situation. But still, at the same time, you never bow to the mob. However, there needs to be some explanation on why it is that McAfee chose to basically bend over in this circumstance. I don't like it, and of course, I think that Rodgers is correct, but still, at the same time, you guys can obviously see exactly how powerful our media really and truly is, which, of course, we'll be discussing in greater detail tomorrow and on Saturday. With that right there being said, guys, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. Please leave a comment. I really want to hear what you guys have got to say on this, and I'll see you guys later.